Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome every one of you to today's section once again. And so far, so good for what we've learned. We've been able to do some justice to some of the things, some of the basics, and some of the intermediate and advanced functions in Microsoft Excel. So, as mentioned, in the last lecture, which we actually work on how we can bring our data from PDF into our Microsoft Excel. And some of us have that challenge because of the version of Excel which we are actually using. Those that are using laser version, which is not 365, might not be able to import their files, their PDF files from using Power Query, but they will be able to import files of other versions. But I'm going to teach us, for us that are using laser version, how can we bring our file into our PDF files into Excel. Have your PDF file, which you know where you've actually stored the file. Now, this is the same file which we actually worked on last week, which is in this folder. So now, for me to be able to bring it into my Microsoft Excel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to open my Word document. I've tried to open my Word document, but here, this is the point which I am currently. So what am I going to do? You open where your PDF file is. You will now drag your PDF file and drag it to your Word. So this blank, you can see my mouse that is still holding something. So I will drop the PDF file in this blank portion. You can see it brought out a dialog, another table. Then I will click on OK. When I click on OK, it depends on the volume of the PDF file which you want to bring into Excel. That is how long it's going to take for it to come up. So I'm trying to bring in the PDF file. What have I done? One, I tried to open my Word document. Secondly, I went to where I save my PDF file, and I now drag the PDF file into the new file of the Word document. So you can see it has opened the information in the PDF format. It has opened the information. So with this, you can decide to save this, or better still, you can now highlight everything and copy from this point and bring it to your Microsoft Excel. What I've actually copied. So you can see I have the information in the PDF file pasted in my Microsoft Excel. So with this, you are able to bring in your PDF information. Now, basically, you will ask a question that, is it not possible for us to copy the table from PDF and just paste it directly into Microsoft Excel? You can copy, but what you will be getting is what I'm going to show you now. So this is it. Now from my PDF, if I decided to copy, I can highlight. Let me copy up to this side point and come to my Microsoft or my Excel. If I choose to paste, this is the way it's going to paste. this is the way it's going to paste. It's not going to paste in a column form. And that is the reason why what we need it, or the way we want it to be pasted each in column form. So for us that are using the laser version, that is not 365 version, so the way you can bring your your PDF information to your Microsoft Excel is, or try to open your Microsoft Word, then open or then drag. You won't open your PDF file, you just drag it from where you save it into the blank part of the Microsoft Word. So with it, it's going to populate that table in PDF in Word. So you can now copy from the Word to your Microsoft Excel. Last week, what we end our discussion on last section was we've tried to deal with table, and at the same time we talked about pivot table. Now, your pivot table, as I've mentioned, is expected is an easier way to summarize everything you have in your table, and it depends on the kind of questions which you are having, or the kind of question which you want to actually find solution to. So that is it. And today we'll be moving straight to what I call the chart. Now, I told us there's some information that even after you might have done your analysis, uh, it might be very hard to bring this kind of table and just paste this type of table into uh, your report. So instead of placing this type of table, you can decide to actually represent your table with a chart. Because mere looking at this, if I try to put it in my report, it has already taken more than a quarter of the information I need to present. And let's say all the table I've actually done here, I want to present everything. I want to present everything, which means the only thing I can do here, I have one table, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This particular table itself has actually occupied more than 50% of the screen. And here I want to present everything at a glance, so that to minimize space, the information I need to present is more than this. So what I can do in that situation is that I can simply turn all my table, all the analysis I've done, I can simply turn them into a chart. Now, the question is that, okay, I want to turn it into a chart. What type of chart can I use? So in that case, what we need to understand here is that you need to understand what every type of chart and what they represented for you to be able to present it properly. Now you need to understand each of these charts for you to actually know what you can use them for, which type of data can you use them to represent. You don't just say because you want to represent your data with a chart, went ahead and just pick any chart. So in that case, you must understand the various type of chart we have and what they can do. That's the reason why I've actually bring out this diagram. Now, this is understanding your chart. Understanding your chart. Now, what and what can you use did you expect you can use your chart for? Number one, we have what we call comparison. You can use your chart to compare two things. to compare A and B. Number two, you can use your chart to show the distribution of a particular thing. The distribution of a particular thing. Okay, I have this data. How was the data distributed when it comes to state? Is it evenly distributed or is not properly distributed? Also, you can use it to represent composition, and at the same time, you can use it to show relationship. Now, if you are in order to make comparison, there are different charts you can use for your comparison. And when you are talking about distribution, there are types of charts you can use to show your distribution. When you are talking about composition, there are different types of chart you can use to show your composition. And when you talk about relationship, there are different types of chart you can use to show your relationship. Now, these are various types of chart which we have here. Okay, let me come back to this. These are the various type of chart we have here. This first category of chart you have at the top here is used to show comparison. Comparison. And what are the chart? We have embedded chart. We have bar charts. We have line chart. We have vertical chart, which you can use to represent comparison. And when we talk about distribution, I know that some of this particular one, uh, for people that did statistics in school, we are actually familiar with some of these charts. You have histogram, you have line histogram, and you have scattered plot. Also, when you talk about relationship, you have scattered plot and you have bubble chart. Then when you now talk about composition, you have tree map, you have waterfall map, and you have pie chart. Also, you can use stack bar chart and area chart. Now, I know that it's at first there are some charts which you are familiar with before now, but those charts you must understand what type of data you can use it to actually represent it. Now, these are some type of the charts and some things which they can be used to do. We have what we call Gantt charts. For people in the project section, they will have seen what we call Gantt chart. Gantt chart is just like is majorly used for project programming. Okay, project one. This section it will cover from 1st of January to 30th of March. Then another one will start from February to March. So in that case, to represent it in a diagram format, what they use is a Gantt chart that represent each timing of each section of projects. Then we have what we call line chart. Majorly, your line chart is what is majorly is being used for time series. And when I talk about time series, it shows the relationship, the activities that occur within different period. It shows the activities that occur within period and is always in line. You can see the way it looks like. We have highlight table. Highlight table is just a normal table that your columnar table, and you have bubble chart, you have pie chart. I know every one of us, we are familiar with what we call pie chart. And pie chart here majorly is good when you are trying to present your data in percentage. Then we have three map chart. Three map chart is just like is a square representation of data. You have male, you have female, and you want to know the size of male that is available in a section compared to the size of female that is available in a section. All these things we will look at it. We have scattered plot. Scattered plot here is majorly being used to analyze relationship between data. For example, as an accountant, you pay money for marketing and for the purpose of sale. Now you now want to check what is the relationship that exists between your marketing expenses and your sales. Does it correlate with one another? So one of the chart which you can use to represent that is your scattered plot. It's your scattered plot. Then we have map chart. Map chart here is a map, comes in a map. Okay, Nigerian map. You want to know, okay, you have businesses in Abia, Lagos, Abuja, Lokoja. Now you now want to represent either your customer base, showing where you have where your customer base are being uh situated. What is the your customer base in Lokoja? What is your customer base in Ogun State? What is your customer base in Lagos State? You can represent it using the map chart to depict how your customer base look like in each of those states. So basically, when you are trying to analyze your data in terms of country or state, I advise people to use map chart because it's even give your presentation a more unique feature. Then you have box and whisker plot. You have histogram chart, you have bar chart, you have bullet chart, and you have waterfall chart. Now, based on what I've said, the first one, bar chart. When can you use a bar chart? You use your bar chart to compare quantities across category. Oh, okay, you are selling how many products? You have what is the number of products you're having? We are selling our article of sales is about 4. So now we now want to represent probably the quantity sold of each product. You can use your bar chart to do that. Now you can see example of the case you compare sales to different products. The quantity sold, revenue generated from that sales from each of the product, you can use your bar chart to represent it. You have line chart. Line chart is used to show, after, like I said, shows trend over time. You have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. And you want to represent, you want to see the sales activities in those months. When did you have a high sales? When do you have less sales? Some people will also represent that with bar chart. But when you are trying to show trend, and also when you are trying to do a forecast, you should use a line chart. Display the growth of website traffic over a year. A website traffic, your sales volume. Okay, in January you have higher sales. In February it came down. In March it's go. So even with a line chart, there is a way you can forecast. Your line chart will be able to show you, okay, if you are forecasting that, okay, January to June, this is the activity. Now you now want to forecast for July, August, September, October. Your line chart can help you to forecast for the next period, which you can simply now, when you now get to that time, now try to match it, to compare it. Then pie chart. Your pie chart, it highlights proportion and percentage. Proportion and percentage. That okay, our total revenue is 1 naira. What percentage of our total revenue did our Article 1 contributed to? What is the percentage of our total revenue did we generate from Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, and Article 4? That is, you want to know which of the revenue that actually contribute highest. Which of the article contribute highest to your revenue? So you can represent that in percentage. It illustrates the breakdown of expenses in a budget. That is, even as an accountant, you want to represent your P&L. Instead of you putting your P&L in your report, you just represent it with a pie chart. That okay, our total expenses is so much. What percentage of it is okay, let's say salary now. Our total salary is 1 million. What percentage of this salary is related to each of the department? Accountancy department, what percentage of the salary did they belongs to them? Okay, sales commission also. You can say, okay, we have sales and we have operation. What percentage of our sales commission goes to the salespeople and what percentage goes to the operation people? So you use your pie chart to represent when you are trying to present your data in percentage format. Then we have scattered plot. Scattered plot here represents relationship between variable. Identify correlation between marketing spending and your return on investment. You can use your scattered plot to represent it. There are a lot of things you can use when you are trying to look at relationship, correlation between an expenses. Okay, our salespeople, we have 10 salespeople and we generate revenue we generate 1 billion. When we have 26 people, we generate 50 billion. When we have 36 people, we generate 40 billion. Now, can we say is because of the number of salespeople that we have that our revenue keep increasing? You can use your scattered plot to actually show the correlation, because sometimes it might not be because you have multiple or increase in salespeople, because even when you look at it in depth, it might be the same set of people that actually bringing in that revenue. And with your chart, with your scattered plots, you can see that. So you can see those that are not, you can see your correlation in the number in your with your chart. Then we have histogram. Histogram is used to visualize the distribution of data. Show the age distribution of a survey respondent. Then you have radial chart. Compare multiple category across dimension. This radial chart is when we want to compare multiple category with just one data. With just one data. What am I talking about? Okay, you have how will I put it? Uh you want to you have different article and you want to compare it against month. Uh, Oil, you have rice, beans, and some like 3 articles, and you want to against you've analyzed your data by month: January, February, March, April, May, June, and you have the article of sales, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. You've known for January what revenue for Article 1, revenue for Article 2, revenue for Article 3, up to June. Now you want to represent that particular table in a chart. You can use your radial chart to represent that. Then, like I said, your map, visualize, you can use your map to visualize geographical data. Like I said, you want to know your revenue, you want to represent your revenue generated in each of the states. You want to represent them in a chart. You can simply use a map to know, okay, Lagos State, this is what we generated. In Benin, this is what we generated. In Ogun State, this is what we generated. It display region sales performance on map. Then each map visualize data density and pattern, especially in a large data set. What are we talking about? You have different, for example, now you can also use your heat map to represent what they call it, your sales per state. But what will you say? It will come in a square shape. So where you have the largest sales, the square shape for that particular region will be the biggest. And what you are going to see at the end of the day is this square in square. We shall also look at those things. Then we have bubble charts. Bubble charts represents 3-dimension data. Compare revenue, cost, and profit in 3 dimensions. Then you have donut chart. Your donut chart, it emphasizes specific pattern within a whole, showing the distribution of marketing expenditure. So these are some of the charts. These are the various charts which we have in Excel, which you can use to represent your data. Now, if you want to put your data in a table without going, you can go to insert and click on your table. Or better still, the shortcut for it is your Control T. When you click on your Control T, it will bring a dialog box and will create a table. Where is the so it has given you the range which you have selected for your table, and I told you my table as an header, which is the same thing of when you click in this table, it will give you the same thing. So the shortcut for it to create a table is Control T. Now let's go back to the information we are working with. For example, here, now, one of the things which we need to understand very well and better when we are trying to do analysis of our data is that we must understand what our data stand for. We must understand what our data is for. That is when we will be able to analyze our data accordingly. For example, this data for real estate data set, which we actually imported from our Excel to from our PDF to our Excel, is contain a client name which is represented by client 1, client 2, client 3, whichever one, and is represented by product type. It also have what we know as cost of product, then invoice amount, countries, then salesperson, and amount paid. Now, number one, when you see this data, you can find out that there is need to reformat this data to look better, because cost of product is expected to come in naira. Invoice amount is expected to come in naira, and amount paid is expected to be in currency. Don't let me say naira, currency. Now we are going to format our data appropriately. So in that case, I'm going to highlight this and come. I know every one of us know how to format. So you come to format your data in order to give you the right answer. Now you have cost of production, you have invoice amount, and you have amount paid. Now, one thing is omitted here. And if I want to represent this, I already have invoice amount, which is the amount I sold it, and cost of production. It means basically I want to know if I'm making profit or loss. And in my data here, uh, there is no profit. It does not show profit or loss. And amount paid here means that if this is the invoice amount and the person paid this amount, it means this person has not fully paid. So what happened? It means that I have to what happened? It means that I have to look at what is the receivable from this data. From this data. I have to look at what is receivable from this data. I think from my data here, I could say there are some errors. Cost of production. Okay, we use it that way. We are not changing anything. Cost of production, invoice amount, and amount paid. Now, from your data, when looking at your data, you should know if there is additional information that is needed, or the information that you have is complete. Now, one thing here is that the additional information that is needed, I can rather come to put it in my data, or I can arrive at that information when I'm doing my analysis. What am I saying? Talking about? When I'm trying to do my analysis, now I have cost of production, I have invoice amount, and I have amount paid. I have amount paid. Now, if with this, I know that when you have cost of production and you have invoice amount, which is amount you sold it, you were supposed to have the profit. You were supposed to have profit or loss. But in this data, there is no either profit or loss, which means for me to be able to, I want to analyze this data and advise the management on what is actually happening. So, which means here I have to show them if they are making profit or they are making loss. That is number one. Number two, amount paid, which means if I sell at 139,771 and the amount the person has paid is 123,385, which means it's either the person is it means the person is still owing us. So in this case, I must be able to show and tell the management that, okay, out of the sales which we've made, this is the total amount we are still expecting to collect. So, which means part of the information I want to actually given is amount collected. And I said something last week that the difference between a table and a normal data, this is the same data that I've populated here, is the same data here, is that here now I want to see the profit. Once I put the heading, the table will be extended. But let me come here. I put my profit. We can see that nothing happened, which also has to do with this. To arrive at my profit is my invoice amount minus my product, which is cost to the invoice amount minus the product. And when I click on enter, all the formulas and all the other lines will be populated automatically. But when I come to this data, I'll set equals to invoice amount minus the cost. And when I click on enter, I can see that the solution, the answer only appears in that cell where I actually input it. So if I want this answer or this formula to apply to every other row, it means that I have to copy all the formula. I have to copy them down, which is one way why table is more is let me say smarter. It's smarter when you are trying to build your data. When you are trying to build a data, it is advisable, you are trying to build a template to be used in your workplace, it is advisable you use a table, not just ordinary, not just normal Excel workbook. You can use the normal Excel, but you have to copy and paste your formula in all the rows. One thing about table here is that once you once you insert once you insert another row, you can see the formula have extended. The number of row which I insert, the formula will continue, will extend automatically. Wherever you have your formula in a cell, it will extend automatically down to wherever your what they call it, to the number of row whichever you've actually inputted. And I told you I want to total each of these column. I don't need to start typing equals to some this. It's just for me to just come. Once you put your total row, just come here and select what you want to do. I want a sum. I come here, I want a sum. You come here, I want a sum. And that is the reason why when you filter your table, automatically your total column will automatically update itself. Update itself. Now, I want to analyze my data with pivot table. I'm going to do a pivot table. Don't forget, we've done pivot table last week. I'm actually going to chart. Now, my pivot table, I come to insert and insert. Now, recommended pivot table. If you click on recommended pivot table, this Excel will recommend to you which report when I click here, you can see these are various reports. Is telling me I can do some profit by country, I can do some cost by product, I can do some profit by product, I can do some profit by sales, some invoice amounts. We recommend various analysis which I can do for me. So whichever one I want to do, I will click on it. This says count of profit and average of profit by product. So we will recommend for you, instead of you racking your head that what analysis can I do? Once you did not have a specific analysis you want to do, though you can just use your recommend pivot table. Your recommend pivot table will definitely recommend to you what you can do. So let me do this. I'm picking this. So I've done this. By selecting it, you can see it has opened it for me. I don't need to drag and drop, and it has shown the pivot table field and has tell you what he has done. You can see on the column here, he has put the value there. Now, on row, that is this row, he has put the country. That is the reason why you are seeing all the countries here. Then here, he has tells you some of the invoice amounts, some of the amount paid, and some of the costs. He did analysis of the three. Invoice amount, which is what? This your invoice amount. He gave you amount paid, which is this amount paid. And what again? He gave you sum of products. In this pivot table, which you have created, you can actually created additional column. You can create additional column here. Now, assuming you want to see sum of invoice amount and sum of amount paid, you want to see, okay, receivable or payable. When I talk about receivable or payable, it means that if amount paid is less than your invoice amount, it means people are still owing you. But if you have your amount paid higher than your invoice amount, it means there are some money which you have to what? Refund. Now, how will you do that? In that situation, you come to your pivot table analysis. Look at this. Under calculation, you have field item setting. I want to add additional column to this calculated field. My calculated field, what did I want to calculate? Receivable or payable? Then what did I want to calculate? I want to say, see, he has given you a formula here. You just click on it, invoice amount minus what? Amount paid. Then I will click add. So I will click on OK. You can see it automatically created additional column for me. It created additional column for me, which is what we have here. So, which invariably, even in your pivot table, you can also do some calculations. You can do your calculations. Here also, you can still come and say you want to determine your profit. Calculated field, profit. You come here and said to determine your profit is your invoice amount minus your cost of production. Abi? Then you click on OK. Oh, because because profit already exists here. Profitability. So because profit already existed here and this name is profit, that's the reason why he has failed to create it. So with this, I can say, okay, you can see he has done the profitability for me. Now, like I told you, this pivot table, which I've actually done, I can copy by highlighting and copying. I'll come down and click on this. I've repasted the pivot table. You can see that they are still the same thing. What am I going to do? I will uncheck. Since I'm highlighting this, everything in this pivot table field relates to this second pivot. So I can now uncheck. I've unchecked, uncheck, uncheck, and uncheck. So I've unchecked everything. Now, when you come to your data sets, I can come here. What again did I want to see sales by salesperson. I pick my salesperson and I pick the invoice amount. And let me sales amount. Let me do by country. I bring my country to column. So with this, I can see Chris Johnson, what the sales he made in each of the states. That is what I have done here. But let me remove this. Now, let me copy this and put it here. I want to remove receivable and remove profit from this. Now with this, you can simply create your chart. I want to create my chart here. To create my chart, I can just select. You can come to you can come to pivot table. You can come to pivot table analysis, which you have here. Pivot table, which we have here, and you can see recommended pivot. You can see pivot chart. You can see pivot chart. When you click on this, it will give you the chart that is available. But aside that, let's come to insert and come to recommended chart. When you click on recommended chart, you can see these are all the charts which I actually explained to us. This is column chart. This is column chart. And under column chart, these are various column chart which you can have. Various column chart which you can have that you can represent your data with. Now, the data I highlighted, which I want to create this chart with, which I want to create this chart from, have the state, the country as invoice amount, amount paid, and costs of production. And when you come here and when you see my recommended chart, that's the reason why you can see it has 3 bars. Each of it, Ghana 3 bar, Kenya 3 bar, Nigeria 3 bar, South Africa 3 bar, UAE 3 bar, UK 3 bar, USA 3 bar. When you come here, it actually combines the 3. Ghana, you will see the blue, which represents invoice amount, the red, which represents amount paid, and the green, it represents cost of production. When you come to stack chart, this stack chart also shows 3 color. It shows 3 color. Also, when you come to this 3D cluster chart, so all the charts, these are all recommended charts which you can use when it comes to column chart. Your line chart, you can see your line chart also, and this is the various line chart which you can use. You have different one, so it's for you to choose whichever one you know. Also, we have pie chart. This is your pie chart. Pie chart showing Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, and all the rest. But when you look at this pie chart, you see that it's only showing each color for each country, which simply means what you are, it matches the total of the 3 column which you want to use. Then you have bar chart. Bar chart is other way round of your column chart. Then you have area. You have your scattered plot. In scattered plot here, you find out that nothing is here because it's telling you you can't create this chart type with data inside a pivot table. Because if you want to create a scattered plot, it means you have to do an extra work from the data you've actually generated in pivot table. What are we saying? It means that this data, I can decide to now, I want to put it here. And what I'm going to do, let me copy this and to this. Copy this. The same data here, I want to bring them here. So I've replicate the same data here, I've replicate it here. So with this now, if I highlight this, and come to my recommended charts, you can see for scattered plot, it gave me a recommended chart for it. So these are your, for scattered plot, this is the way various charts that is represented in scattered plot. These are them. Then your map chart. Your map chart is a normal chart. You can see, because the data I am actually working on has a name, or a name of a country. That is the reason why I can use my map chart. And you can see from this chart, you can see Nigeria chart, map. You can see it will select each of those countries in the normal map. Then stock. This you have high and low. It depends on your data. That for that data under your stock, this is the only chart you can use. You can't use any other chart. You can't use this particular one, because to use it, there must be a way you have to arrange your. Then you have surface charts. So these are various charts which you can represent your data with. Radar charts. You can see your radar charts. Each of those color, blue is representing one of the data. This red, okay, blue is representing invoice amount, red is representing amount paid, and your green is representing cost of product. Your tempo, like I said, you can see Ghana, Kenya, Ghana, UK, UAE, USA, South Africa, and Nigeria. So from this chart, you can tell the way the data are being represented. What you are seeing here is the total of invoice amount plus amount paid plus this, which means to represent this data, you cannot represent it with what? With this type of chart, because it's not giving you the information you actually wanted, because this is a total and you are meant to have three different graph, because you have three different data. represented in this. Then you have this also, some bust. You have histogram. You have box chart, waterfall. You have funnel, and you have combo. These are the various charts which you have, which you can represent your data with. So I'm going to represent my data using this chart. Once you selected your chart, you click on OK. Now I've represented the data I selected, which is this, with these charts. And further, you can now come and edit your chart. The way your chart is looking, you can decide to change it. You can decide to change it. When you look here, you find out that additional tab has been added, which is called chart design. Chart design. Now, add elements. This add element here simply means, okay, the element you have in here, you're having invoice amount, you're having what? Amount paid, and you are having cost of production. You might decide to add another bar, which when you come here, when you click on add element, it will tell you what can be done. What are the elements you want to add? You want to add axis. You want to add axis title. You want to add a title to it or whatsoever. But instead of coming here, you can simply use this cross that you have here. This cross tells you all the features that this chart has. It has axis, it has axis title, it has chart title. Your chart title is this. It has data label. If you want to add data label, if you want to add data table, you want to add error bar, grid line, legend, or trend line. So that is what you can do there. Also, this brush is trying to change your chart style, which is what you have here. From here, you can decide to change your chart style. I want this particular one. I want this. I want this. I want this. This is where you can decide to design your chart the way you wanted it to look like. This is where you can different. So here also you can come to switch your row to column. Switch your row to column. Switching row to column now simply means invoice amount, amount paid, and cost column. This particular one is invoice amount. All this is amount paid. All this is cost of product. But for each state, some of invoice paid, this particular one stand for Ghana, this stand for Kenya, green stand for Nigeria, so on and so forth. That is when you are switching. Then here, select data. Your data now. If you want to see the data which you have used for your chart, you have sum of invoice, you have some amount paid, you have sum of cost. From here, you can simply remove or you add. Here, I want to remove this particular one, and I click on OK. My chart only has 2 bars because I've actually unchecked one of the bar. I can come back here and come to add this and remove amount paid and click on OK. And you can see. You can come back here to change the type of chart you have. I don't want this one again. I want a line chart. Or Possibly I want a map chart. This is the map chart I wanted, and I click on OK. The chart I initially has changed to this. And you can the same thing, you can come here and format your map, or you click on this brush to see the various map you are having, the various type of map you have having. This is your chart and changing of your chart type. I want a tree map. I want this, and OK. So your map, you can change your chart to whatever you like. Same thing, you click on it. You can change the title. You can change the title that uh sales by country. Sales by country. So I've changed it. What again? Move your chart. You can move your chart to new sheet or anywhere. So as I've said, the type of chart you use is dependent on the information you actually want to present. The information you want to present. I want to reformat my chart. I don't want those line. I will uncheck the line. My chart title, I want it. The axis, I don't want it. Or I want the axis. So this is the new look of my charts. The new look of my charts. So your analysis will determine what your chart look. Your analysis will and the kind of chart you actually want to present will determine what kind of chart you are expected to use. Creating a dashboard. And when I talk about creating a dashboard, which I believe that is what majority of us that are on this call, which we see, and we are asking, how did they do this? What I do tell people is that when we are talking about dashboard is the simplest thing to do. And the dashboard is not the major reason why you what? The major reason why you learn data analytics. Anybody that can bring out information from data from that exists in Excel is a data analyst. Either you could create a dashboard or you could not create a dashboard. What we call dashboard is same thing as what we see here. These various things you are seeing here are what we call dashboards. are the various things we call dashboard. You can see, instead of us seeing a table, what we are only seeing is just a number. We can see that even this dashboard doesn't even have, okay, have a line chart 1, line chart 2, and every other thing that exists here. This is marketing dashboard. It's just a figure. Now, in creating dashboard, your dashboard comprises a dashboard will comprise one, shape, icon, picture, charts, tests, and whichever thing. It depends on the way you want your dashboard to look like. Now, like what I said, when you go online and you Google, just type dashboard, you'll see series of dashboard like this. This particular dashboard, that you are seeing here is different from this particular dashboard you are seeing here. You can see this dashboard that I'm highlighting on is showing some information at the top here. Now, when we are talking about dashboard, we'll be talking about KPIs. This you are seeing here at the top here is known as KPI. That is, KPI are those metrics, those information you want to communicate for decision making. You want to project for decision making. Like this dashboard, when you look at this dashboard, I'm trying to see how I can actually enlarge it, but I could not enlarge it. When you look at this dashboard, this 3,450 have an information here, which means this 3,450, what the information is all about is this. And from this point, you can see some icon. You can see icon or some logos to indicate the information here. Likewise here, you can see chart here. The first chart, the second chart, and the last chart. And at this point, you can see something like, how will I call it? Like a tab, which is telling you this dashboard you are looking for at is not only one page dashboard. It has other dashboards. Let me visit where the dashboard is. From these are various dashboard or various tools the person actually used to create his dashboard. And I think this dashboard was created using Power BI. Now, what am I trying to communicate here? There is no specific design for dashboard. It depends on who is actually doing the dashboard. Who is actually doing the dashboard. But in trying to create a dashboard, one, this sheet which I'm actually having has lines. So first of all, what I need is a plain sheet. In that case, I will come to view and uncheck my grid line. Also, all I want a holistic view of everything here. I want a more space. I can decide to I can decide to do not show my ribbon. I've given it more space. I've given it more space. Now, I might decide that, okay, if I go to the right now, I won't see what is here. I can decide that, okay, I don't want I don't want my information to shift. Then I would decide to what? Freeze this. You can see I already have a line. So if I decide to go to the right, I won't see what is happening behind the scene because that is what I wanted. But one thing you will notice is that if I move down, I will still have some other things disappear. So what I will just do, I will rather come here, come to my free spin, unfreeze, and what? Come to free spin. You can see my line. So when I go down, I can still continue to see my information. When I go to the right, I will still continue to see my information. In that case, I want to expand this so that with this, I have this space. So now your dashboard, what did you want to do? Number one, in designing your dashboard, you can decide to use shape or you do not use any shape. If I'm not using any shape, I can simply come here and just decide to come here and color, give my sheet a color. I've given my sheet a color. So in that case, I want to put the name or I want the name to appear at the top here. So I can decide to give that part a different color. I can decide to give that part a different color. I can decide to give it a different color, and what would I want to give it a heading. So with this, I want it to be in the central across, and I want to increase the size. I want to give it bold italic, and I want to increase the size to this, and I want to give it, let me change the font size. Okay, let me leave it that way. Let me click OK. So you can see, let me align it to the left. So I can decide to give this a format. Let me give it this. So this is the name. And let me see my chart, the chart I did. Now I decide to copy my chart and just put it here and put it here. So you can decide to let me now the dashboard, so to say, is it depends on the information you want to present. What I've just done here, what your dashboard does is after you might have created your chart one after the other, then your arrangement of those charts to make it look nice is what matters. And that is the reason why many of us look at it. How did they created this chart? How did they created this chart? I'm trying to use just one switch. Now, in your dashboard, a lot of, for example, like some which I actually showed that shows you the KPI. For example, now we decided to show what is there. You can also do same and said, okay, you want to show, let me say from this place, let me give this a different color. You can decide to say, so I want to set this place to this place. Let me give it another color. Now, like what I showed us, this particular KPIs, I might decide to show the total sales. My total sales now I will in my analysis I will have a figure where I have information about my total sales. Like, okay, one of my pivot table, now what I want in this is total sale. Total sale. So I want my invoice. I don't want country. I don't want amount paid. So what I have here is the total sale. And again, you can decide to change your label here. I can decide to set total sales. Let me put it in the middle. And again, you can decide to name this particular cell your total cell and say this answer which you get here is your total cells. And again, one thing I actually want to tell, which I want to actually tells us, you can from this, I want to name this 187,174,786 total cell. I can decide to name it based on what I have here, based on the information I have at the top. Cells, I will come here and said total cells. Then when I come to my dashboard, what I just need to do there is equals to total. I can see it here and click on enter. It has brought my figure. Then what will I do? I just rename. I rename it. And let me align it to the center. Let me align it to the center. Okay. Oh, better still, let me merge it and put it in the middle. Okay, because it is it is in a naira, so it won't be in the middle. So I can decide that okay, in this only, let me increase my font size. I increase my font size. This one, I want to increase my font size also. Then I decide I want to put a line in between. Then I can come here and come and do an underline. So with this, I can decide to insert an icon. And when you want to insert icon, you come to insert and you come to your icon. You come under illustration for those that are using Excel 365. But for those that are using the global version, I think on it, you will see picture shape icon. So I can come to icon. In my icon here, I can decide to look for what type of icon did I want to use. Then I can decide to write sales. This is giving me a home. What can I use? Revenue. Okay. I can decide to choose this. You select which one did you want to use, or you just select everything, whatever you feel you would like to use, you insert it. This is it. Click out and click on it. I've separated it. So this particular one you can reduce and increase, and I can decide to also change the format. This is graph, and I decide to change the font to whatever I wanted. Let me see. Outline. I don't want any outline for it. No outline. Let me give it, what color did I wanted? I want this color. So this is it. And that is the way what he has done here. He has put in this symbol. You can decide to do anything. It depends on the individual. So there is no one way traffic to it. There is no one-way traffic to it. But with this is a KPI. You can decide to show another KPIs. Now, I told you, it depends on you and what works for you. If you know that, okay, and for you to show your dashboard, you have to know how you can design it. You can first of all use your biro to draw it somewhere and start designing the way you want your dashboard to look like. Now, this that I've done, I can decide to do it using a shape. If you want to use a shape to do it, you just come here and click on the same thing and come and you select shape. I want a square. I come here and I draw. I come here and draw. I come to for shape formatting, and what did I do? I can decide to remove the outline, or you can remove the outline. Then with this, in your shape formatting, you look for, there is text formatting here. When you click on the text formatting, you can simply come to your shape and click. You can see there will be a blink. So anything you type, total sales, then you decide to do whatever formatting you want to do in there. Then I want to introduce a line. I will just come, insert, shape, and take whatever line. Come here, and I click to the right. This line is not showing better. I can come and change the way I want it to tick, the thickness. You can see, and at the same time, I can decide to the outline also. Or let me give it a black. Now you want to bring your text on this. You click on this again, come to your text, select your text, come to this point, you will see something like a table. Now, for you to be able to type anything here, you have to come to your formula bar here. Click on this, then you put equals to total sales. Then click on enter. That is the only way that this will show. Then to format it, you just come and let me see. I don't want it to fill. I want to make use of the same background. I don't want it to have any outline. Let me see. Then you can now increase the fonts. So this same shape which you've brought in also can fit in. You can see it's not showing, but you can right click and set bring to the front. So with this, it is now showing. Then I can come and change my color. So you can see one of the advantage of this is that your shape, you can decide to format your shape the way you want it to do. You can give it some effects. You can give your shape some effect. That is the reason why it look more unique than when you use a normal this thing. So you can also decide to group everything you have on this on this. You can decide to group it, come here and click on group. So with this, I've grouped it. If I decided to copy and paste this, it will copy and paste everything there. But I can edit it individually. That is, I've worked on one. I want to repeat what I've done on each of it. So I will be able to edit the way I want it to look like. So now I arrange it. At the end of the day, what makes it interactive is your slicer. Let me insert my slicer. Insert slicer. I want slicer for product type, and salesperson. I will bring these two together and bring it to my dashboard. Like I told you, you can edit your slicer when you are the way you can edit everything. I want it in 2 column, and I want the weight to increase. So I can simply do this. I can decide to bring this down, change this to also to 2 column. So I can decide to bring it here and here. I don't want this row. Okay, let me put it that way. But don't forget that my slicer is not connected yet. You can see that when I'm actually it's not reacting on the chart. So now I want to connect it to okay, and this also. So with this, apartment, you can see there is interaction within my chart. So customer space, you can see all informations here are what changing. Land, the total sales change, the map chart change, the sales by country change, and by chart changes. So merging everything together to look unique is actually what makes it that is what actually make it somehow unique. So what they have done here is not something that cannot be done by anybody. But the first thing you need to do is being able to actually show or being able to do your analysis properly. Then after doing your analysis properly, then representing them in a chart. Then afterwards, you now combine your charts together to form for a pictorial presentation.